Hi, and welcome back to the Aftermath podcast. I'm so excited to share and healing with you and just vibe. So let's dive in. Today, we're going to be talking about body neutrality. And this is something that was integral to my healing process with myself. I know most people are more familiar with the body positivity movement, and I think that is a great movement, and there's definitely place for it in the healing community. But in my own experience, body neutrality has been something that has been much more freeing for me. And so we're going to dig in and talk about it. So first, let's just talk about what is body neutrality, what is body positivity, how they're different. So body positivity, most people are more familiar with this because it was a political movement. It really blew up, especially on social medias and in popular culture. But if you're unfamiliar, it was a movement that was started in reaction to the fatphobic culture of popular culture, fashion, and even Hollywood. And basically the message of body positivity is that I am beautiful no matter what. My body, no matter what it looks like, is beautiful and amazing, and basically just focuses all on body positivity. Like, I'm sexy no matter what I look like, and therefore I am of worth. So that's body positivity. Body neutrality, on the other hand, is all about becoming completely neutral with how your body looks and separating your worth from your body. So instead of, oh, my body is beautiful, therefore I'm amazing, it doesn't matter how my body looks. I could be the baddest bitch on the block or the ugliest duckling in the pond, and I am still of worth. My worth is innate, and it comes from within, and it has no reflection on how I look at any given moment. What I find so incredibly important about body neutrality is the separation of body and worth. Because the reality is, we're all just wearing meat suits, right? We're all just souls wearing meat suits, walking around. And our worth really doesn't come from what we look like. And beauty standards are something that are constantly changing, ever evolving. And honestly, no one, I don't care how incredibly gorgeous you are, can really ever keep up with the ever evolving change. And what might be beautiful in one place could be considered very unattractive in another place. Your ability to be gorgeous or look amazing has no real impact on the things that you can do and the person that you can be. And therefore, reaching a place of body neutrality is so much more incredibly freeing, because you really reach a place where you realize that if you look really ugly one day, you wake up and you just feel and look like shit, it's okay. And that doesn't actually have any effect on your mood or your productivity for the rest of the day, because you're able to be like, oh yeah, like, that's okay, but like, that's the least interesting thing about me, right? My aesthetic, my beauty is the least interesting thing about me, is the least important thing about me. It is just this physical moment, and that can change in a moment. And even similarly, when I wake up and feel like I look like $1,000,000, great. That's a nice feeling to have, but not have it now change the way that I behave or am able to get things done. I think this is also a much more manageable place for people to achieve, because the reality is, when you are in a space where you really truly hate yourself and you are trying to get to a space of constant positivity about how you look or whatever, with all these like different types of pressures all the time, like, let's just be real, like, that's a lot. And I personally would say that it leans more towards toxic positivity, which we will talk more about in another episode. But the reality is that no person can be positive all the time. And the great thing about body neutrality is it leaves space for both the light and the dark, which, as a priestess, that is what I am all about. Always holding space for the light and the dark, because that's what we are. We are multifaceted, multidimensional human beings that hold both the light and the dark. And it's really, really important that we have space for both of those. A little bit about my journey to body neutrality. So I really, really struggled with my self-worth, with my body, and just being hypercritical. I was always, in the gym, working out like 6 to 7 days a week. I look back at these pictures of myself now where I took like before photos and I literally look like a rail. But at the time I was like, oh my God, I need to lose 10 pounds, definitely suffering from body dysmorphia, constant pressures of outside. And I was constantly pushing, like, how can I look perfect? How can I look better? How can I be this presentation for other people so that other people can see my worth? And because I spent so much time focused on my body and how I looked, I felt like it was really negatively impacting my ability to do the things that I love because I just was so constantly consumed with, oh, well, what do I look like? Oh, do they accept me? Does this look okay? Okay. And it was fucking exhausting. It just was not maintainable. And around this time, I started really kind of focusing on body positivity, right? Telling myself, oh, wow, like, yeah, I look like a badass. I look amazing. I look so incredible. And as much as there were pieces of that that definitely helped me, it honestly felt just as exhausting because a lot of the time I felt like I was just lying to myself. I felt like I was like, yeah, I'm a badass. I love how I look today. And the reality was I was like, girl, I haven't slept in a week. I am struggling. I do not like anything that is going on. And now I'm just supposed to say, oh yeah, I'm a baddie. It felt inauthentic to my experience. And I really struggled with finding a way to be body positive while still holding space for how I was actually feeling. It also really caused me to almost have more issues with when I was feeling shitty because if I had a day where I wasn't feeling body positive, it just affected everything. It affected my mood. It affected how I walked, my productivity levels, because it was like, oh, I just don't feel like good today. I don't feel positive. So that means that everything, just like my worth is just not as good because I'm just not as good at being positive right now. And it was equally exhausting to try and be this positive, body positive person all the time. Also, around this time, I started kind of taking a step back and seeing the people who were more on the body positivity spectrum versus body negativity spectrum. And I started to realize that everybody was just really super focused on bodies, no matter if it was positive or negative, right? It was just like constant consuming of my body, my body, my body, my body. And I honestly just found it really, really boring. I was like, this isn't interesting to me. Being constantly talking about our body, it's like seeing even body positivity movements or people talking about body positivity was almost exhausting because it's like, okay, like, why do we need to talk about our bodies this much? Like, why is it this important to feel beautiful or handsome or attractive? Why can't we just be? And I had heard someone say around this time something to me along the lines of being insecure is the most self-centered that you can be, right? Because you are always thinking about yourself. And that is how I felt. I felt like I was constantly in this cesspool of self-focus, and I didn't want to be like that anymore. And so this is when I stumbled upon the term body neutrality. And what I found so incredibly freeing and amazing about this concept was the message was your body really fucking doesn't matter, right? Like I said earlier, it is the least interesting thing about you, which is always how I felt. I was like, yeah, okay, I look good on this day, or, oh yeah, okay, I look like shit on this day, but like, who cares? Let's talk about how I feel. Or like, let's talk about how you feel. Or let's talk about what's going on behind this stupid face or mask or body that I'm in. Because that is the interesting part. And I think if we all sit down and think about the people that we love, you're not with them because of the body that they're in. You are with them or in relationship with them because of the person that they are. Or hopefully, right? I know when I think of my friends that I love or people that I love in my life, I'm thinking about, wow, they just have the most radiant soul or radiant energy or incredible heart or just loving demeanor. And that's what's important to me about them. And sure, do I think my friends and people in my life are beautiful? Yeah, but that's because I love them. I don't love them because they are beautiful. I think they're beautiful because I love them. And I think that is a super, super important distinction. The other thing I found on this journey towards body neutrality was body neutrality is much more attainable for people. Because let's be real, if you look like a freaking model all the fucking time, that's incredible for you. And body positivity is probably much more achievable for you because just practically you're like looking glamorous. But for the regular Joe Schmo, we are out here looking very regular schmegular on an average day. And not all of us have time to get glammed up or look our best every day. And we shouldn't have to look our best every day in order to be loved, accepted, taken seriously, or able to have impact. So because of that, I feel like it's much more achievable for everyone, right? And that's the point. Body neutrality is achievable for everyone because you can really separate and be on a different journey with your body, and that can be on its own journey. But you can understand that regardless of where you are in your journey or how you feel about your body at a given moment, your worth is still innate. And that is the number one most important thing for us to recognize on our healing journey. Because healing journeys are not linear, right? They're messy. I've had days where I'm just super in love with my body and the way I look, and days where I'm really hypercritical of it. But now that I've reached a place of neutrality, I can look at those thoughts in a more critical, almost distance way, and it doesn't impact me as much. Like recently, I took a video of myself. I went skinny dipping in a lake in Ireland, and I was like, I'm going to take a video of this great moment, just freeing, right? And I took a video of myself and I was watching it back and I was like, oh my God, like, wow, my body looks really different than it used to. And it's so changed. And I kind of had a moment of like, oh, that's interesting how I look, and kind of like comparing myself to other people I've seen, but it didn't cause me to have a crisis of self. It just was an interesting thing that I could work on by itself that didn't make me feel like, oh, well, now I'm unworthy or this is something that is a critical flaw. Instead, it was like, oh, that's interesting that I feel that way about my body. And then I was able to go in and be like, well, regardless of how my body looks, I'm really powerful and I'm actually really proud of this body because it's taken me through some of the most challenging months of my life over the past 8 months, which have quite literally been some of the most transformative and difficult months of my life to date. And it was cool because afterwards I was able to just sit with it, sit with that feeling, and accept exactly how I looked without any type of feeling less than as a person, which also was a really cool moment to have with myself because it's just such a beautiful place to be. considering where I started, which was just so critical. And if I saw myself as ugly in the mirror, I mean, I would have just lost it for probably days and like felt insecure and just would have been taking myself down a rabbit hole. Something that was really important in my journey to get to this place of neutrality was the boredom, right? And I really want to just stress how important boredom and exhaustion are in your healing journey, no matter if it's with your body or whatever you're working on currently. Reaching a place of boredom really shows that you've learned your lesson and that you are ready for something else. If you are in this place of like torment or place of like overexcitement, what that tells the universe is that you are still learning, you're still giving that energy. But when you reach a place of boredom or of exhaustion, of like, I'm just done with this. Like, I literally cannot give any more energy to this. The universe is like, oh, okay, cool. So this is no longer interesting to you. And therefore, you're going to move on really quickly. So if you're in a place of boredom or exhaustion with anything, congratulations. You're about to go on a new journey. And isn't that exciting? And I know boredom and exhaustion can be a really frustrating place to be in, but it's actually a sign that you've got major up-leveling and upgrades coming your way. So just put that little tidbit in there. Body neutrality is something that actually really gets me so excited because I've not only seen the impact that it has had in my life and the capacity that it has given back to me because I'm not spending so much time focused on what I look like at a given moment, but I've also been able to see it in my clients, which has been just such an incredible, beautiful experience. And if you're unfamiliar with what I do, since I haven't really talked about it much on here yet, I am a high priestess and I do quantum healing ceremonies with people that lead them into a deep meditative state and gives them access to their subconscious mind so that they can rewire the subconscious and release limiting beliefs that no longer serve them. And I've noticed, especially with my female clients, because of the narrative of our society constantly putting pressures on us as women to look a certain way or be all positive, 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 and reach this unattainable goal, our thoughts about our body really take up a lot of our capacity. And when I've been able to work with my clients and really show them the value of themselves outside of their body and be able to release these beliefs about themselves, about their bodies, and reach that state of innate worth, it is just so crazy how quickly other things just start snapping into place because of this. And why? I really truly believe because it just gives you so much more capacity to think about other things. Because just ask yourself right now, how many times a day do you think about how you look or how you may appear to someone else? Ask yourself. And if that answer is a fuck ton, think about how much time and how much energy you could save if you were able to really get rid of that energy expended, right? And how much you could potentially do with that now saved energy. It's incredible. You could learn so many other lessons. You could start a podcast or, I don't know, go to the beach. And just enjoy the beach for the beach instead of, oh my God, what are people thinking about my fat flaps? It's like you can just enjoy the sun. And I honestly just feel super fortunate to have chosen a life that I get to help other people reclaim their capacity and their peace and do it in such a quick manner, because I was definitely looking at different alternative methods to helping people for a while, like talk therapy and stuff like that. But the reality is that type of stuff can take years and years and years. And being able to just see the changes in people literally overnight is something that makes me just scream with joy to be sharing in this experience and this healing with my clients and with you. I really want to encourage you to take some time for yourself this week and really just think about how your relationship with your body is affecting your life. And just look at it in a way of non-judgment, not criticizing whether or not it's taking too much or not taking enough or whatever it is. Just look at it. Look at your relationship with your body and really ask yourself, how is my relationship with my body and my relationship with myself affecting my life? And ask yourself if you want it to continue affecting you that way. And if the answer is yes, then awesome. I'm so happy for you. And if the answer is no, then maybe take some time to yourself and reflect on how to take your first steps towards body neutrality yourself. And I would actually really love to hear your thoughts on this, on your relationship with your body or your relationship with body neutrality or body positivity. So if you have anything that you would like to share, please reach out. You can reach me on Instagram at the.aftermath.podcast or at Emerald Order Priestess on Instagram as well. And I look forward to hearing from you. Stay tuned for next week's episode. I have a super exciting guest for you guys. We are going to be talking about all things healing, what being a priestess really means, and we're going to be talking about how your abuser or the people who've hurt you the most in life are actually your best friends on a soul level. So if that intrigues you, I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much for being here today with me, and I look forward to hearing your stories too.